Welcome to The Preferred List, a podcast about the people behind the best wedding days. I'm James, a wedding filmmaker. I've spent years in the industry working alongside incredible vendors, and this show is all about real conversations with the ones who make it happen. Whether you're a vendor or a couple, you'll get honest insight, good stories, and maybe a little inspiration along the way. Let's meet today's wedding vendor. Megan, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm so glad to have you on. Honestly, we've been chatting before this, and your personality is so bubbly, and I can't wait to just get into the conversation. It's going to be so fun. You guys are in for a treat today. But before we get into that, we are here at Harmony Forge Inn. And if you haven't heard, Harmony Forge Inn is located, it's nestled into the rolling hills of Bellefonte, just about 15 minutes away from Penn State. It features a historic house built in 1795, a newly remodeled creekside lodge, and a rustic barn with some modern touches. And we're just glad to be here. The whole heart behind this podcast is to be at venues, connecting with vendors, so other vendors can learn new things and couples can hopefully learn new things as well. And they're in their planning process, like trying to just figure out how to have the best day. But we're here.
We're
Abby,
here.
how's it going?
Good.
So you have such an interesting background in the wedding industry, and we're going to dive right in. So give me the best event rentals background, like where you started in the industry and kind of how that led you to do your own thing and kind of branch out to be events.
Yeah. So, history moment, and I had to fact check it before today. My grandfather started Best Event Rental in 1964. It was unlimited rent-alls back then, and he did everything. I mean, he rented workout equipment, appliances. My mom would go home and their TV would be gone, and he rented the TV. So, I mean, he started it off very broad. And then in the 90s, my parents stepped in, and it switched to Best Event Rental and focused more on party and event rentals. So, my entire life, as old as I was to be free labor, I was in the event industry helping with event sets and loved it. I mean, I was never drug along. I was always begging to come to work with my parents. So I've been in the event, it sounds cheesy, but I've been in the event industry my entire life.
Yeah. But like actually though.
Yeah. I mean, the nitty gritty, the dirty parts, not the pretty parts of it. The event rentals you set up and you leave when it's pretty. You don't get to see the fun stuff, which is kind of why I wanted to start B Events. So when I graduated college in 2014, oh man, that's nice. That hurts a little bit. But when I graduated college, I started B Events as a sister company of Best Event because I didn't like helping with the rentals and then just passing it off and not seeing my design vision or the day of come to life. And I wanted to be able to create more personal relationships. You have all these meetings with the people and you help them set it up and then you have no idea how it went. And we don't always get pictures and everything like that. So that's why I wanted to start B Events, was to have those more personable relationships in the events and actually get to execute it, which is my favorite part of it. And of course, working with amazing vendors is an added bonus to that. So
Yeah, well, you have an experience of like seeing so many events happen, the design. I would imagine at the early age, even like you might not even notice that it was all happening, but like you're taking in like
all the
all the
things,
things.
what to do and what not to do. Yeah, I mean, when my parents took over, we had an in-house artist. And so those big theme events were big. I remember the first big event I think I was 5. It was a 50s themed party at the Penn Stater, and our in-house artist made these 4-foot poodles that were in poodle skirts that were huge and custom painted and custom cut. And I just remember we called it the Poodle Parade. We shot a TV commercial setting that event up because it was just my 12 delivery guys just carrying in these huge poodles.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just like sitting there tying like bows on. I don't even know what I was doing, but I remember just sitting there like completely enamored, just like, this is what I want to do. I mean, I'm not doing poodles now, but
Yeah,
weddings, it's a bit of a
parade,
no
weddings.
poodle parade. I mean,
Okay.
I would do it, but
If you want to do a poodle parade,
I'm your girl.
Megan's your girl.
But I mean, just all of it. There's no part I don't like. I'm sure at some point I'll be old and tired and not want to do it anymore. But so far, I mean, it gives me such joy to see it come to life and help people execute the biggest day of their lives, because it's a lot. And
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know how people do it without any type of planner. I mean, that's what I tell all my clients that reach out to me is, hey, if we're not a good fit, there's no hard feelings, but please hire a wedding planner.
I say the same thing on the video side. I'm like, you don't have to book us,
Yeah, just book
but
someone.
get someone that's gonna work for you.
Yeah, and I think that speaks towards exactly what you're saying with here at Harmony Forge. It's not just a client, it's not just a dollar sign. It's our passion and it's our
Yeah.
lives, so we actually care. So
Yeah.
I mean, even if you don't pay me, I don't care, but like I care about your well-being. So please hire a wedding planner.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll dive into so many different things on the planning side of things.
Mhm.
Before we do, like, there was a point in that journey working with your parents. At some point you were just kind of like there,
Mhm.
sort of helping. Was there a point where you were kind of like more in the business side of things?
Yeah, so I still currently am in the business. So
Okay.
I am the manager at Best Event Rental. So every week, Monday through Friday, I'm in Best Event. It works out really nicely that in my downtime in between client calls or whatever, I can do the B event side of things. I can schedule client meetings and demos, and it just kind of blends really nicely. My clients also get a discount on their rentals just because we're a sister company. We figured we'd make that an added benefit because it makes it easier on both of our sides.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's just no split for me. People get confused and think it's the same company. I'm like, that's fair because I am
Yeah, we
both
we
companies.
kind of did that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we kind of did that. The logo's the same color. It's
Yeah. No.
best event and B event. So of course, the confusion happens. But at some point, I'll be taking over best event, and so that's why I call myself like a boutique planner. Um, Best Events my family business and my full career, but B Events is my baby.
Yeah.
It's my company, it's my thing, separate from my family. I can make my own name. Um, I also have two small kids, so I don't want to work every weekend, and I also don't want to lose touch of what matters to me, which is that connection with my clients. I don't want to have so many weddings where I'm just knocking things off the list. I want to be, you know, the next 2 weekends, I custom made all their signage, graphic design. I mean, literally gluing the laser cut signage together and everything like that. And I don't want to lose touch of that. So, best event business side of things, I'm on full board. B events is, kind of like my side gig, but it's my full time passion project. So,
Yeah.
it's kind of both.
I guess I was wondering like where the business mindset came from. And maybe it's just like your parents and grandparents, like
Yeah.
it's obviously in the family,
Yeah.
but it was in somewhere in you to be like, hey, I want to venture out and kind of start my
Hmm.
own thing with B events. And I mean, obviously it makes sense with the rentals to
Yeah.
kind of pair that with a planning
Hmm.
service, but there's a lot that goes into running a business and being a wedding vendor.
Yeah.
Was that kind of just ingrained in your
Yeah, it
yeah.
kind of came natural from my mom mainly because she does, all the business side of things, whereas my dad does the execution. And so just growing up, seeing her do it, I mean, it's not daunting. It's kind of just like, oh yeah, like
It's just a normal
you
thing.
run a business. I don't know, like it's part of it.
There's
Um,
so many people that are like wanting to start something but just so afraid to
yeah,
do
and
it.
it's the mental thing. That's the only thing getting in your way,
Yeah.
is yourself, and you got to put yourself out there. And I'm terrible at talking about myself. Jana and Alex and all my friends are like, you have to go on the podcast and you have to be confident in yourself because
Hey,
you
you're
are good at
here.
what you
You're
do.
yeah.
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 Even though you don't like to say it out loud, they're like, you're good at what you do. And so you just have to have the confidence in yourself. And I think with it being the sister company of Best Event, it was a bit less daunting because I'm like, all right, like it's kind of in tandem,
Yeah, for sure.
we're umbrellaed. And so I'm very fortunate that the business side of things was a lot easier for me because it was already partially set up.
Yeah.
So,
So you mentioned like dropping stuff off.
hmm
Maybe it's in totes, maybe it's in bins, maybe it's like a big stack of stuff.
yep.
You wanted to see that stuff actually get put together,
Hmm.
even be a part of that process where you're like designing maybe or helping day of. And on the planning side with B events, what are the things that you're doing? What are you offering? Because I know there's a weird in between of like, is it day of
Right.
coordination? Is it like a full year of planning? Are you
Hmm.
doing all of the things? Are you setting stuff up? Are you designing stuff? Like, I know I'm throwing a lot out
Oh
there,
yeah,
but
nope.
what is it that B Events is doing?
And that is all us. So I don't do just day of anymore. Again, back to like the root of all of it. Like I like to establish those personal relationships, and I'm too OCD that the idea of stepping in. Well, first of all, day of doesn't exist. If you hire a wedding planner that literally shows up the morning of without having a conversation beforehand, I don't know how that actually works. We did do it for a little bit when we first started. That we would actually come in 3 months out because that gives us enough time to go over anything, fix any mistakes, or have foresight of any logistical things we see that, like, hey, this probably wouldn't work out. Um, I didn't enjoy it as much because I just felt like those 3 months we were still doing the same planning process, but just cramming it into 3 months. And
Yeah.
it was just more stressful. So we only do full planning. Um, they can book us 2 years out. They can book us a year out. We have some people book us 6 months out where they're like, oh man, I don't want to do this anymore by myself.
Yeah.
Um, but we do absolutely everything. So we don't charge hourly. Some wedding planners do. Um,
Oh, interesting.
yeah, we just do a blanketed price because I don't ever want a client questioning about asking me a question or setting up a meeting or a phone call.
Yeah,
I
that would
don't
get
want money to be
so
in their
gray
head.
area.
Yes. I want it just to be like when you book us, you have us all.
Yeah.
Unlimited calls, text, whatever you need. Um, because of the rental side, I definitely handle more of the setup than what most planners do, just because I'm not going to stand there and watch my crew carry tables and chairs. I'm going to, like, you can ask
Yeah,
any of
it's
the other
also a part
vendors,
of your
like,
team.
I'm going to carry the tables and chairs. I'm going to start doing that. So we're there for everything. So the way we start is when we book, we make, custom design proposals, and we do a table demo, which is my favorite, where we actually have the florist bring in a sample. And I want my clients to see what their day is going to look like way before. I don't want to just talk to them and tell them what it's going to look like. I want to show them.
Yeah, so you're not even showing them like pictures of what it
Correct.
could be or
Yep,
something
they're
you're
seeing everything in person. Diagrams. I mean, we do all of it. We started doing the graphic design included in our package, anything from save the dates to invitations, signage. I mean, we're doing a seating chart wall, mirrors. I mean, all that fun stuff. Wherever we can help our clients streamline things and make it unique and cohesive is where I enjoy it the most. Pinterest can be pretty overwhelming. And I feel like a lot of times brides can just like copy and paste. And so our goal is to dissect people's Pinterest, and make it reflect them and
hmm
customize it to them.
Because
S-
even in the Pinterest, there could be like a theme
Yeah.
that
Or
maybe they're
conflicting
just,
themes.
yeah, or conflicting, but maybe just a theme that like you can pull from and be like, okay, that might not be attainable, but
Hmm.
here's like five other things that follow the same vibe or theme that like
Yeah.
style wise, like all still match.
And I think my rental background kind of helps on that
Oh,
too,
for
where if a
sure.
bride, Pinterest is a blessing and a curse in this industry, as you know.
Yeah.
A bride will send you something, you're like, listen, that's not real. Like, whether it's a styled shoot or now AI, oh, the AI inspiration pictures are getting me. I'm like, that's not real. You
Yeah.
can't, you
It's
can't
not a
obtain
thing
that.
that can
Yeah, that's
happen.
not the
Yeah.
thing. Um, but I guess the one thing I always say is my goal is to help you spend your money wisely. So I asked for their budget. I never shared the budget, but I can't sit there in good faith and watch my client spend money on something that I could buy in wholesale or buy a sign off Etsy that I could make for them and just pass along the cost. So we do all of it, and I'm probably a bit of a pushover in that way, but that's what I enjoy. I want to help make the process as stress-free as possible, whether that's financially or planning or whatever. But there's just so many things that you can do in the wedding planning process that I think people don't realize. Um, and the main thing is I think people just see wedding planners as like a extra expense with wedding planning as opposed to someone who could potentially help you save money,
Yeah.
and
Well,
use your money wisely.
there's a weird like because I've done some interviews with planners now before this one with you, and it's just like there's this weird like saying the word wedding planner. I guess that's two words, wedding planner, but saying the words wedding planner could mean full service,
Mhm.
everything top to bottom, like what
Mhm.
you're saying, which
Mhm.
sounds awesome. It could mean 3 months out they're stepping in helping in this way or that
Hmm.
way. It could mean day of, which what you're saying is like, how do you even do that?
My OCD, I would not.
But I think that's part of the issue is like couples hear wedding planning and they're like, well, what is it?
Right. And that's why it's transparency, I guess, is the biggest thing. And that's why we don't have like a fake fluffy website or anything like that. It's real couples, it's us. And our inquiry form, it requires them to talk to us. It's not just
Yeah.
like,
You're not just putting
looking
your
at,
name in,
yes,
email,
exactly. It's
like,
setting up,
let
it's
me know.
starting a conversation because, there are lots of day of planners in the area who, anytime anyone emails me, and like I said to you, I'm like, I don't care if you don't use me. I just want you to use a wedding planner, and if we're not a fit, that's fine. And there's dozens of good wedding planners in the area, and some do day of that I send couples to all the time, because just because I don't offer that service doesn't mean there's not a need for that service.
Yeah.
And venue coordinators, I mean, God bless them, stepping in the day of and making it happen.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, they are probably more so just there for
yeah,
logistics and
yeah. Well, our favorite line is, a venue planner cares that your color is petal pink, but they don't care how you got there. So like we help
gotcha.
you get there. I'm the one there with you showing you 70 different shades of pink and helping you feel confident in like this is your color pink. So like that's kind of like
That's
the
like a great tagline
that's
too.
yeah, that's the cheesy thing is like they don't really care how you got there, but they're glad you found that
And
color
they're gonna
pink.
remind everyone that that's
Yes.
the color.
So yeah.
Could you talk to me a little bit more about the difference between like the coordination and the actual planning? Because
Yeah.
I have to imagine that there's couples out there that are hearing wedding coordinator, maybe they're hearing like venue coordinator,
Mhm.
wedding coordinator, but then there's like planning, which honestly, the planning that you're talking about, I don't know that I've heard someone say they do as much as you do.
Yeah. I think the biggest between like a wedding planning and wedding coordinator, I feel like that's just people choosing a different word.
Okay.
Um, I mean, each company again does something different, but I think the biggest difference is, the venue coordinator versus your wedding planner versus like a day of coordinator. Like I said, we are there the whole ride. We're helping you with the dresses, we're helping you with whatever you want, whatever you don't want. The venue coordinators are probably taken advantage of a lot because their goal is to make, I mean, every vendor's goal is to make the day perfect, but venue coordinators are more the logistical side of things. So like the physical handoff of things. Um, and I mean, the nice thing that my parents made me do growing up was work in other event industry parts to make sure I actually wanted to do it. So I worked at the Nittany Lion Inn as an events intern. So I know how I've been the hotel and the banquet manager.
Oh, nice.
Um, and there's definitely a stigma with wedding planners that, and I'm sure some of them do it, that we just like to tell people what to do or we just like to make things look pretty. And that's something that I experienced that on the Nittany Lion inside of things. Like I've worked for a catering company. I've experienced as a vendor when a planner just comes in and tells people what to do. And so I think the most important thing is that people understand that the venue coordinator is in charge of the venue. They're
Yeah.
there to focus on executing the things in the venue. They're not going to be with you at the church. They're not going to help you with the transportation or stuff your hotel bags or whatever for you. So I just think the misconception is that people think when they see a venue has a venue coordinator that they have a planner. They're good to go. And it's like, you know what? That venue coordinator is going to ask you for a specific set of information so they can do their job, but they're not going to have a 2-hour phone call with you about your diagram or the design of your invitations or what flowers to choose, because that's just not part of their job. And I think that's the misconception is people don't understand that a venue coordinator and a day of coordinator, their execution, you're handing off the plan to them and they are executing the plan, whereas the planner is helping you come up with the plan
Yeah.
to then hand out to the vendors. So I'm sure that wasn't the best answer, but it
No,
is
it's great.
even in the industry, it's a gray line because everyone uses it so fluidly that I don't think there's like a set.
Well, and you could have a venue that has an owner or a coordinator type role
Hmm.
who does way more than
Right.
what that logistics kind of
And I think
coordinator
that's
would
what's
do.
nice about the wedding planning industry is it's a personal industry, So like even here at Casey and them, they're not just gonna talk to you a month out. She's gonna talk to you 1,000 times
Yeah.
beforehand because they care
Yeah.
and they have a passion for it. So I think all of us being a little bit crazy and having a passion for our couples is
Yeah.
why there's some gray lines there.
Yeah, no, definitely. When you're trying to help refine the vision that couples have for their day, what's that process look like? Are they coming to you with a bunch of ideas
Mhm.
usually? Are they like blank slate, like help us
Yeah.
figure this out?
I see both. Um, the biggest thing, like I said, Pinterest is that blessing and a curse. So someone will send me their Pinterest board and it's like 7,000 different things. There are, is what we like to do is they tell me my colors are blush and greenery just because that's our most basic, right? um but there's 7 different undertones of blush, and do you want gold or silver, do you want rustic or modern or minimal? So is what we do is we go into their Pinterest board and we realize, like, okay, you've got like 7 different vibes going on here, and we kind of refine it into 3 design boards that we send to them. And we always just tell them, like, this isn't, you're not picking the invitation in this design board. I'm just trying to get a sense of your style and your preference,
Mm,
because our goal isn't to reproduce Pinterest. Our goal is to tell your story. It sounds really cheesy, but to tell your love story through your wedding day. So, you know, next weekend, our bride's making wax seals, because it always reminds her of her grandmother. You know what I mean? It's little things like that that we help them go through all that, and we also help kind of narrow it down a little bit and make it less overwhelming. So, you know, again, just a reference, like our bride next weekend, she's like, I remember my sister-in-law's wedding, like we had to assemble all this stuff. And I'm like, no, you're not doing any of it. Just hand it off to me. And it's one less thing for you to do. And you can physically see them just kind of like, oh,
oh,
like
okay.
you'll do that for me? I don't have to tie a bunch of napkins. No, you don't have to
No.
do any of that. That's why you have a planner.
Yeah.
Um, and financially too, again, like the ideas, and I think social media, there's almost too much information and inspiration that people think this is all obtainable.
Yeah.
And then you have to be a bit of a Debbie Downer sometimes and be like, oh, by the way, this is X amount of money, or,
Yeah. For sure.
and we just try to help simplify things because our goal is for them to enjoy the day.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, I want you to spend your money wisely. So if you show me an idea that's ridiculous, if you want to spend that money, I will do it. But there's always ways that we can work around things to minimize waste and make it effective, and just, again, reduce that noise and just streamline the process for them, because we want them to actually enjoy the day. A lot of people can get wrapped up in the details and everything that goes into the planning because it's a lot. Um, but our goal is to make it less daunting, so they're
Yeah.
actually remembering, like, oh yeah, like we're getting married, like,
Yeah, for sure.
it's not just a day, it's after that. And just make it so that they can actually enjoy the day and process it, because there's so much other noise going around that sometimes people just, they just black out there and they have no idea that their wedding day just went by them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm curious to know the process you have. So, like, a couple is going to come to you, they're going to have maybe an idea of on a budget, or are
Mhm.
they coming to you and saying, like, help us figure out budget?
So the hard thing is when people ask me for budgets in this area, it's such a widespread,
Okay.
because we have, like the private property where they don't have a venue fee or whatever. So is what we do is we have a budget tracker sheet that I track the highest and the lowest contracts in each vendor category over the past year that I've seen. And we share that with our clients when they need guidance.
Oh, nice.
I'll show them like what's obtainable. This was the lowest catering contract we had. This was the highest, because that way they at least have an idea. Because sometimes Googling things and going on like Wedding Wire and the Knot, that's great, but it's based on cities. So it's not necessarily realistic around here. Um, so I do hand out that sheet because it still is up to them and where their priorities align. Do you care about flowers, or are flowers the most important thing? I've had a $2,000 floral contract and I've had a $12,000 floral contract. And so for me to just flat out tell someone what their budget is, I don't like to do, mainly because then if we go over it, you don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
Even though it's based on their choices. But the biggest thing is I ask them, some clients share like a breakdown of the budget with me. Some aren't comfortable. And like, that's fine. Like, I don't mind. Um, but it's more so just asking, we're having the floral conversation. What do you want to spend on flowers? And they'll tell me, this. And then I'll say, based on your design, you're leaning more towards this side. So like, let's just rethink your design. There's different ways to do things and repurpose flowers and stuff like that. So I think discussing the budget up front is really important because sometimes people wait until after they get the proposal to realize, like, oh, I don't want to spend that. And then they had this picture in their head, and now they're going to have to bring the budget down. And now they just see this, image getting dwindled. Whereas we have discussion up front of like, how much do you have budgeted for rentals? And that way I'm only showing them things. I'm not showing them the $150 linen. I'm showing them the $50 range linens. And they're only seeing the things that fit in their budget. So they're not seeing the unobtainable things and having that like, oh man, like we can't afford that. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
feel
for
like
sure.
part of it is I like asking for a budget to protect them from that.
Yeah.
Um,
So I'm sitting here and I'm imagining that I'm so and so couple that they're like, "Man, that sounds great, but we don't have the chance to work with you
mhm,
for whatever reason. Maybe they're far away. Um, but they're sitting there and they're like, but how do we figure all of that out without having, like we're not booked with you to
right.
have that like resource of here's the budget tracker.
hmm
What's the best way to figure that out?
The best, I mean, the honest conversation is what's always helpful. Before you book anyone, I mean, we always say talk to your families and figure out how much you have. So, like every wedding has a pot of money, right? Um, what we always tell our clients too is if your parents are helping with the wedding, the cleanest thing to do is just ask them how much are you comfortable contributing and have them just give that money outright. And then there's not the background noise of, hey, mom, this is how much the DJ costs. And then be
Yeah.
like, well, why are you spending? You know what I mean? Then the
Yeah.
couple, we always say, like, the wedding day is about you. So, like, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, which is very hard to do because there's very strong opinions.
There's a lot of noise.
Yeah,
There's a
there's
lot
a
of
lot of
noise.
noise with wedding planning. Um, but that way it's kind of cleaner and they can just put their money towards what is important to them. So I think you can do the research online and see what budgets and things are common in areas. But I think the biggest thing, and unfortunately, without a planner, there's a lot of legwork involved, is just
Right.
reaching out to those vendors and getting proposals as soon as possible. I mean, the earlier you book, you typically lock in that year's pricing. So there's no magic answer there.
Yeah. Which is
Without a
probably
planner,
unfortunate in a
yeah.
way, but is there advice that you have for couples um in terms of like you said, reducing waste
Mhm,
or should they focus on like if photography is the most important thing to them or the venue is the like
mhm.
how should they kind of like rank these things as they're in that midst of planning and trying to figure out like well this is our amount and stuff costs this
Excellent.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's the same thing. I mean, the honest conversations, you have to be very careful in wedding planning with who you include in your planning process.
Interesting.
Everyone's very, very excited. Everyone has great intentions. But for instance, like our demo meeting is what the meeting we call usually the winter before the wedding, where they see all the linens, the chairs, the china, glassware, flatware, literally every single detail is brought out. Um, and we always tell our clients, you can bring as many people as you want to that, but we strongly advise, just like wedding dress shopping, you only bring a select few people to that because you have 5 people in that room with very different opinions.
Yeah.
And I've seen it where, again, this is a silly example, but we put a linen out and I see the bride light up. Like that is exactly what she wanted. And then grandma or mom or aunt will say, Aunt Karen, yes,
Why'd you come up with that
it's
name?
always that. um, just gives like the slight comment or even like asks like an innocent question and you instantly see that doubt form in the bride's mind because wedding planning there's a million things to decide, picking a vendor, picking a
Yeah.
timeline, there's so much noise. And I think that's why wedding planning is so overwhelming because it's seriously overstimulating. There's a million things to consider and everyone's asking you questions. And so to minimize who's involved with it, truly a demo meeting, I would love if it's just the bride and groom because I don't care what the other people think. And you have to kind of remind them that it doesn't matter if your mom wants you to do a cake cutting. Do you guys want to do a cake cutting? No? Great. Don't
Don't do
spend
it.
money on a cake.
Yeah.
So I think that the biggest starting point that I think people forget to do is have the conversation with themselves, couple wise. And it can be hard because sometimes guys don't care about those little details, but you have to have the honest conversations with each other where flowers might be the most important thing to the bride, but catering and food might be the most important thing to the groom. So like those are conversations you have to have before booking vendors. And going into it, all right, we're going to prioritize the majority of our budget on flowers and food. So we might get the less expensive reception chairs because we don't really care about that part. Not that those things don't matter, but you
Right.
have to make a priority list of what matters to the two of you and give each other wins. You know, even if it's something small like the groom hates that flatware, it doesn't matter. It's both of you. The weddings I don't like are like the over the top girly weddings because I know for a fact that groom wasn't involved in that process, which is like upsetting to me. It can be pretty and girly and all those things, but you have to make sure you include each other in the planning process. And, again, he likes food, you like flowers, do both because they're both important because it's a day reflecting the two of you.
Yeah.
So if she wants to walk away remembering the flowers, he wants to walk away remembering the food. So I think those conversations and those priorities are things you need to do before reaching out to vendors. Have those honest conversations about budget because they're not cheap.
Well, and the worst, do feel like the worst thing that could happen in that scenario is you do reach out to a vendor, you have that meeting or whatever it might be. It could be photo, video, florals, whatever it might be, venue, and you're like falling in love with whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, if you didn't have the conversation, now it's out of budget.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Because everything past that, it's going to feel like
You're cutting your dream. You're
secondary. Yeah.
sacrificing what you want. Yeah. And that's, telling the vendor up front as well. You can do some research. You can see what their pricing is on their website, usually preliminary ahead of time to see if it fits. But telling your vendor up front, our goal is to make your wedding day perfect and to make your vision come to life. And most vendors will bend more than we should because, like I said, we care about these clients.
Yeah. We should. If you're not, you should.
Yeah. This is a call out
A little
here.
side out. Yeah. Alongside, like, so with that though, you're in your position as a planner, as like a full service planner,
Mhm.
you're in contact with venues and vendors of all types,
Mhm.
like throughout the whole process. Maybe you're presenting a bunch of options to the couple.
Mhm.
Maybe they're just saying like, "Hey, go find the best person that fits our style." What's that been like for you, kind of developing a list of people of vendors that you trust and that you would, in some ways, kind of stake your reputation on?
Yeah, so that was definitely one thing coming out of Best Event that was like, I knew a bunch of vendors, but I wanted to make my own name, right? I didn't want to be, oh, like that's Megan from Best Event. I wanted to be, that's Megan from B Events who does things differently. Touching back on what I said, I worked at the Nittany Lion Inn, so I've seen the hotel and the event planning side of that. I worked at the Bryce Jordan Center, so I've seen the crowd management. I know what bands need and what they don't need. I worked for the catering company and the bartending company. And so there's this stigma with wedding planners that we just like to tell people what to do. And I, I've been the vendor and dealt with some planners a long time ago. No one locally right now.
She's calling people
I'm not
out.
calling anyone out. But there's that stigma that wedding planners just like are on a power trip, right? And we just
Yeah.
like to tell everyone what to do and micromanage. And I go so far beyond the opposite way that my goal isn't to manage the vendors. I want to help you do your job better. I want to help simplify your day. So if that means the timeline's ready for you or I have the flat lay ready for you, whatever I can do to make your life easier is my goal. Because vendor teams that work well together create just an overall better experience for everyone involved.
Right.
Planners, vendors, clients. That seamlessness of everyone working together as a team is an energy and a vibe that can be felt by guests even if they have no idea. And so creating those relationships has been something I've tried to prioritize over the last however many years of, I have these 5 florists I work with, and this one likes the timeline sent this way, or this one likes me to do X, Y, and Z. And so I try to focus almost harder on my vendor relationships and client relationships, right? Because vendors, we're going to work with each other multiple times.
Yeah.
A bride and groom, very important, obviously, but you're not going to get repeat business from that. And so I think that in this industry, there's so much business that to be almost like competitive with one another makes no sense.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a lot of weddings.
there's a lot of weddings. And but even to be like exclusive with vendors doesn't make any sense because the way we all get bookings is recommendations for one another.
Yeah.
And so I think those vendor relationships are something I pride myself on. Um, and I'm really bad at talking about myself, but they tell me that I do a really good job at not micromanaging and making it, they're like, oh, I feel
Enjoyable.
so
Yeah.
at ease knowing that you're there the day of because I could send you a million timelines. It doesn't mean it's going to happen the day of. Things go wrong.
Yep.
And the reason wedding planners are good at their job is we are OCD and we plan these things, but we know that it's not going to go exactly to that plan. And we know how to react and adapt and work as a team. And if the bartender's out of ice and I have to start hauling ice, I'm going to do it because it doesn't matter what my role is or who I work for or whatever. The day of, our goal is just to make that day happen for the couple. And if that means we have to roll up our sleeves and work together as a team, we will. And I think in doing that and not acting like you're such a separate company, you're a bunch of different vendors the day of. No, we're all a team that day. It doesn't matter what company
Yeah.
you're working for. We're all on the same team here.
So if you need more ice, Megan's
I'm
your
on
girl.
it. Tables, chair, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I've tried really, really hard to avoid the micromanaging stigma.
Yeah,
of,
and I'm sure the vendors that you work with appreciate that.
I hope
And
so.
I mean, the worst thing is not feeling like you have room to do your best work.
Right.
I'm kind of saying that a little bit from like a creative standpoint.
hmm
But I'm sure that, you know, like bartenders and everyone else,
Yeah.
like they all have sort of a flow, a way
Mhm.
they do things.
And a priority. I mean, everyone's there to do their job. And so, me personally, I really like to have a hands off approach the day of. I don't like to be in the bridal suite and hair and makeup sway because as a bride, or a bridesmaid, I don't want this random person in here with us. We're listening to music, we're having mimosas. Like,
Yeah.
I am not that planner that needs to be in everyone's face to feel important. Truly, I'm like Sasquatch. I am in the back of all the pictures. I am like running in the back.
Is that her?
Yeah, you don't see me. Ask Jana Scott. She has an entire
Yeah.
file of pictures of me that are like not great. And
Yeah.
she captures me every time. But the whole point is that if something goes wrong, you don't know. I'm not going to go to the bride and ask her, how do you want me to handle this situation the day of? I'm not going to be with you while you're doing the first look and standing there. You don't need the planner there.
Like
That's
over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah. Hey, did you get that angle? Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that because by recommending vendors that I'm confident in their abilities, I can also do my job better
Yeah, that's
because
true.
I don't have to worry about are they on time? Are they on track? And if you're not, I know, like, we know how to adapt and work together and go with the flow. And so I think that it doesn't have to be a complicated process. Sometimes people overcomplicate things and make these crazy timelines that are every 5 minutes and I'm sending you weekly updates of the timeline. Nope. 60 days out, I'll send you our timeline because we've changed it 12 times by now.
Yeah.
And you don't really need to be bothered with 30 different emails
Right.
on something until it's time to go through it. So I think, again, my goal is just to simplify things. I mean, it's a big day, but it doesn't have to be that hard or
Yeah.
complicated.
I mean, it seems like you've developed a system, a process that like allows other vendors to thrive, but also more importantly, the couple is probably experiencing the day in a more stress-free way,
hmm
and they're probably getting better photos, better videos, and better guest experiences out of it too. I'm curious, like when you started B Events,
hmm
were you just like out the gate, like doing all this like great planning, vendor relationship stuff, or you kind of took a
Tiptoe.
second to
Yeah.
get the wheels running
Yeah.
going?
So when I started out, I had a partner who had been in the industry too, just because I was like, you know what? This is a lot. We can lean off each other's experience. So that helped me gain my confidence. And then she decided she didn't want to do wedding planning anymore. So there was
See ya.
shout out to Corey. We love you. But she was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So I was able to, thankfully, through that partnership, I was able to build my confidence in myself and my experience and my name aside from the family business that kind of helped me just go right into that role. And, each wedding I learned something different about what I would or would not do.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, go take me back to that first wedding. Like, how different was
Oh,
that
man.
first wedding compared to some of the ones that you're planning for now?
Yeah, and I think confidence is the way it is. Saying yes to everything, they wanted to do shots. It did not end well for anyone involved. So there's things that I've realized over the years that not that we say no to clients or we want to ruin their dreams, but it's like, hey, I've seen this happen and I promise you, you don't want this to happen. We were doing everything. I mean, all the little DIY things, um, time wise, spending way more time on weddings and overcomplicating things, kind of back to that of just like, it doesn't have to be that hard. And so those, weddings way back then, I just think that I've streamlined it and made it an easier process for everyone involved. Um, and yeah, I mean, they were great weddings and it was good experience. And we never really had one that was like, oh man, that was rough, which I'm thankful for.
Yeah.
But I definitely handle things differently now that I don't know if I've just hardened to it, that it just doesn't stress me out anymore. And I'm able to confidently guide my clients and help them with their wedding day as opposed to be like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then like stress myself out figuring it out.
Yeah.
I'm able to just confidently help people, I guess, is the biggest change is just my confidence in the years that I've done it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, if you're a vendor listening, it kind of takes time for that to
Yeah.
come. Like, you can't really.
No. And you're going to have days you question yourself. I mean, that never ends. I don't know about you, but like some days you're like, am I actually like,
Yeah.
people are listening to me right now and hiring? Like, it's kind of crazy in the wedding industry because most of us are selling ourselves. Like, yes, it's video or yes, it's photography, yes, it's florals, but like, that's you.
Yeah.
Like, that's your skill. That's,
Yeah.
your name, your face, and everything. And so there's always going to be those weddings or those days where you have those doubts, but you just have to remember that there's someone out there for everyone vendor wise. So just because a client doesn't choose you
Yep.
does not mean you did anything wrong.
Well, I'm curious to know if you've ever, I mean, like I say this because I feel like in weddings, it's really easy just to compare like this event to that event. And
Hmm.
your framework, you're probably looking at things like as an entire event, as a full, like, you seeing like the full design of the reception space.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm like, that's a really cool film. That's a really cool shot. But I'm curious to know like how do you handle some of that I find myself comparing
Yeah.
to this other event or this event, like, am I as good as this other person or like that.
Yeah.
For the vendors that are listening that kind of are kind of stuck in that.
It's hard. I mean, in mine, it's different because I'm not doing the same thing each week, right? I'm doing completely different designs and everything like that. But I see things and I'm like, oh, like I could do that. Why doesn't like anyone around here want to do that or anything like that? But I mean, it's so hard. Even the vendors I'm friend with, I see that and I'm like, oh man, that looks really good. Or like, yeah, like you said, it's impossible not to compare yourself. And I think it's way different than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago because there wasn't as strong of a social media presence. I
Yeah,
mean, social media has taken weddings to a completely different level.
it
As you know, with
has.
film,
Jana was talking about that too.
yeah,
Just
like
that it's
it
crazy.
matters so much more because it's the sharing of the wedding day and
Yeah.
showing people what you did. It's not what it once was. And unfortunately, there's no good way to not get down on yourself and compare yourself. And I think that's where the really good vendor team, and we call them like frienders, right?
Yeah.
I think that's where those relationships are really important because on those days when you see a random post or you see a competitor do something and you get down on yourself, it's okay that you did it, but you need that go-to person that'll snap you out of it and remind you that you are good at what you do for a reason. People hire you for a reason.
Yeah.
I have, you're about to interview one in a couple of minutes, but I mean, I have these vendors that I do it. I get in my head, but if you have that team to remind you that you're good at what you do,
Yeah.
nothing can stop you besides yourself.
It's like that village mindset.
Yes.
For
Yeah.
sure. It's like you can't go it alone.
No.
Even though it is like it's very easy to feel like siloed out as a vendor.
Hmm.
Like, here's a videographer, here's a photographer, here's another videographer.
Yeah.
But it does seem like if you could remove yourself from that siloed kind of mindset. You are running your own business. You need to do things for yourself, but there
Hmm.
is a part of it that's like, hey, lean on the people that are around you
Yeah.
that you love working with, and you know they're gonna give you those pick me ups that
Yeah.
you might need, just the
And you're
same as you would for them.
Yeah, and you're not going to love every vendor you work with, and that's okay. That doesn't mean you did something wrong,
Yeah,
But having that team, the wedding day behind the scenes should be fun.
yeah,
Vendor to vendor, it should be ridiculous and fun.
yeah, for
And,
sure.
you know, align yourself with vendors that are the same mindset as you. And if you have someone that you don't like the way they did it, that's fine. That doesn't mean they did anything wrong, but there's another planner out there that can work with them,
Yeah.
So your preferred vendor list, if you will,
Oh,
oh,
hey,
is it's important because my goal is to help each vendor do their job as best as they can, make their job as easy as possible. I wouldn't have a job without my vendors. So even though they're like, oh, she planned this great wedding, it wouldn't be anything without the vendors. You know, you have
that
to,
might be a hot take for the planners out there.
oh my goodness. I mean, truly, when you say a vendor team, like
Yeah,
the people that just try to take credit for the whole day, it would not be anything. The dance floor, you wouldn't be able to get shots of the dance floor without the DJ, who couldn't do it without the rental company having the power and
yeah. And then you wouldn't see any of it if you didn't have a photographer and
exactly.
videographer.
And so it's like the people, I think sometimes vendor wise, it can get difficult not to get caught up in yourself. You have to remember that, okay, the florist has to deliver the flowers by this time, not to be a pain, but because then the photographer can do their job to take
Yeah,
pictures of the invitation that the planner design. It's all full circle that we're all there to make each other look better, really. If we get down to it, we're all trying to make each other look good. Um, and however you can do that and maintain a positive relationship with people should be 100% your goal with vendors.
yeah. Vendor to vendor. I mean, there is obviously uh, we're all there for the couple,
We have the
a
same
hundred
goal.
percent.
Yeah,
But vendor to vendor, there's so much that you could do to like just bring yourself into that circle to be like, hey, we're here together. What can I do to help?
exactly. I mean, and you know it, especially with video.
Yeah.
When there's a videographer and photographer on two different timelines,
Whew.
that is a rough day.
It is no fun.
And so, I mean, as a planner for me, like that is my goal is having a vendor team, making sure everyone is comfortable with one another. Because if there's tension, it's obvious
Yeah, and
to
it's not fun. No one's
no,
having fun in that
no.
scenario.
And weddings are fun. Even working them, like it's a 12-hour day for me. I get home and I'm like, I don't know how I just stood on my feet for 12 hours, but like
Yeah,
it
also
went by
don't talk to
fast.
me for like another 12.
Yeah, then I also fall asleep and
Yeah.
like my children know not to talk to me the next day. But
Yeah.
it's fine. But for as long, I mean, I just love it. I being there with it doesn't feel like work, which sounds really cheesy. And if we're all being honest, the day of, it's just the execution, right? All of our
Yeah,
planning's
the
done. The
prep.
day of's
Yeah.
the fun part.
Yeah, for
And we
sure.
all get to be together and pull off the couple's dream day,
I get a
hopefully.
little bit of the fun part after because
Yeah,
I get to put the
of course.
story
The
together, which
editing.
is
Yes, yes,
fun.
yes.
It's overwhelming sometimes, but it is fun as well. Are there trends that you're loving seeing that are kind of new and up and coming?
So it's hard because I feel like our area is always like a couple months behind the like West Coast,
State
right?
college, what are you doing?
Yeah, we're a little bit behind. But like the '90s. Oh, I don't want to call it vintage because that means I'm
But
vintage.
it's funny because you have like sort of the inside scoop on probably way more years of wedding event things than
Yeah.
probably a lot of
Oh
people.
yeah, like the stuff that we were like that's dated and we sold, and now people are like, "Do you have this?" I'm like, "What? You want that floral granny print
Yeah,
from the
we just
'90s?" I'm
sold
like,
that for
"Why did
10
we sell
bucks.
that?" Yeah. So now I'm like, you know what? We're never selling anything again
Yeah.
because then it'll be
Buy
genuinely
another
vintage.
warehouse.
Yep, it's fine. We're just expanding. No, my family wants to kill me with that. Every time I'm like, we need to buy something new, they're like, "Where are we gonna
Where are
put
we gonna
it?"
put
And I'm
it?
like, "Ooh, yeah,
Yeah.
right." So that's definitely an issue. But that not vintage where it's like lace and grandma, but that '90s vintage, the bows, the moodiness, the hand drawn doodles, that like the swans on the wedding cake and like the vintage wedding cake style is big right now.
Are
It's
you loving that or is
it
it
is
kind of
fun. It's
okay?
different. I mean, we went through the rustic and now we went
Yeah.
through the modern and now we're going for this. I mean, it I'm known for my design because I'm able to help execute it. I think because of my resources, I can do it.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm always up for a new challenge. So I think moving into like the bolder, moodier, statement weddings, I'm really excited for. Not that I don't love a good neutral wedding with greeneries and whites. I am a neutral girl at heart. I'm excited to move
Yeah.
towards, the patterns and the
You can
textures
live
and the colors.
vicariously through your
Yes,
couples who want that, but
exactly.
you're still a neutral girl.
My house is very neutral. I'm very beige,
Yeah.
but it's fine. But
My
I can
wife
help
my
you
wife
make it
does the
as
same
loud
thing.
as you want.
Where do you see the industry going in the next couple of years?
Oh man, with technology and everything, I
Yeah.
genuinely have no idea. I think the sky is the limit, but I think that hopefully it doesn't get away from the main point of what the days are about, because I do think social media and the pressure to post your wedding pictures and have it look beautiful has like its, negative quirks of people forgetting,
Yeah.
hey, you're getting married this day.
Yeah.
That's one of the big reasons I recommend first looks. My favorite thing to tell them is like, if you want the tradition of not having a first look, I 100% respect that. But if you want to actually spend the day with your guests and with your groom,
Yeah.
the first look is my favorite thing, because the first look's the only time you two are actually alone the entire day. And maybe film side, you might think differently, but I think that is the most
Oh, I love. Oh, I just said, I don't know if it was an interview or two ago. First looks and private vows.
favorite,
Love it.
because it's genuine.
I didn't do a first look, but I still love it.
I did it, and I used to like lie to people before I was married, and I was still doing it. I was like, "Oh, as soon as you see him, you'll forget the people in the crowd." No, it's true. But even my husband, who's not like I don't know, he's a very like quiet guy. He's like, it 100% makes sense, because your nerves go down and you're able to kind of recenter with each other.
Yeah.
Remember, like, oh, it's today. And when you walk down the aisle, it's a whole new different wave of emotions, because you're actually doing it and you're standing in front of, 200 plus people, which not a lot of people love.
No pressure.
No pressure, no pressure. But I would say the first look allows everyone to let their guard down and have a genuine reaction.
Yeah.
And you spend the whole day together. And then at cocktail hour, you're at cocktail hour with your guests. Whereas if you don't do the first look, you only get the reception with your guests. And our favorite line is always like, ignore your friends at cocktail hour, because I hate the dated tradition of receiving lines and visiting reception tables. Not to be rude, it just kills the vibe.
Yeah.
And so we're like, listen, cocktail hour is where you divide and conquer. You ignore your friends who are going to be there until 11 o'clock at night. You are going to see them on the dance
Yeah, I
floor.
was gonna say probably partying with you. Yeah.
Yes. The people you need to talk to at cocktail hour are the people who are probably going to leave after the cake cutting, the aunts, the uncles, the people that traveled here to be with them. And I like the cocktail hour visitation better than a receiving line, because it's a genuine interaction. Receiving line, and the guests know, like, you're going quick, right?
Yeah.
On to the next one.
Hey, congrats. Hey, congrats.
Yes.
Hey,
And so I
congrats.
think that's a shift that I try to push with my clients too. It's like, it's about the day. Like,
Yeah.
you want to experience the whole day together, start to finish. And so that first look just helps you actually have 10 hours together as opposed to 5.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and I love when the couples can just enjoy themselves on the dance floor.
Yeah. There's
It's like
nothing,
anything we can
formalities,
do,
we smush
yeah.
them all together. We
Yep.
do them right away, because, like, I don't want to have to pull you off the dance floor.
Also, way easier for us as creatives to just like, okay, do this, do this, do this, do
Yes.
this, and then eat dinner, do the party
Sunset
stuff.
pictures,
Yep.
cake cutting, dances,
Yep.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't like to overcomplicate things. It's not rocket science, And
Yeah.
to stop for a million formalities, a DJ will tell you nothing kills a dance floor more than having to stop every 20 minutes
Do
for
another
yes.
thing.
Less is more. Just have fun.
It's also fun too when it's all done and then you can just unwind a little bit.
Yeah.
Relax
Our
a little
goal
bit.
is a solid 2 hours of dancing where we're not bugging you at all.
Yeah.
That's what it should be. You don't have to overcomplicate it, and just do what makes sense to the two of you.
Yeah.
If you want a cocktail style reception, not a sit down dinner, do it. If your aunt doesn't like that, who cares? It's not her wedding day. Our line is like, listen, if someone doesn't like it, blame the wedding planner. We're probably not going to see him again. Tell him it was me. I don't care.
Yeah.
And
like a random lady comes up to you, how dare you?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how dare you?
Again, it's so easy to get caught up in the noise
Yeah.
of social media and family and friends and opinions, and none of that matters. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's literally what the two of you want. If you guys want everyone to sit in their own paddle boat for the reception, I don't care. I'll make it happen. I mean, it's what you guys want.
That would be pretty epic.
It would be, until people got drinking and, water and
Less
alcohol.
epic.
Yeah, it's fine.
Maybe more epic. I don't
I
know.
don't know. We should try it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, just do what makes sense for the two of you. Don't worry about what's tradition. Don't worry about what's trendy. Don't worry about what's expensive. If it's if it speaks to you and reflects the two of you, that's all that matters the day of.
Yeah.
And I think if you focus on those things, people will walk away from that event and it'll be more memorable than the weddings that have all, the tchotchkes and the trendy things that they don't, they
You
don't
think that,
remember the two of
yeah,
you.
you think they're cool and fun to do day of, but then it's
Yeah.
like after, what are you really going to be
Remembering.
remembering?
Yeah.
It's such good advice for couples. We touched back a little bit on like the vendor side of things. You're obviously running a successful business, even kind of like two a little bit,
Yeah.
right? With all of that stuff that you're doing for best events too. Um, I'm curious, like what systems, what strategies, tools, habits do you have that help you stay organized and
Yeah.
just keep a lid on everything so it just runs
You
smoothly?
know, I wish I could say I use those planning apps, but it's just my brain. You know,
More power to you,
just a
because
little high functioning. It's fine. No, I mean, over the years, I would say back to my Nittany Lion experience, they had BEOs, banquet event orders, where it's like this intimidating grid of every single detail. And I kind of played off that and kind of made it a little less intense. But you know, diagrams, design proposals. I do digital concepts for my clients now where they have like the digital picture, thank you AI, of
one thing you're good for.
AI and Photoshop. But
Yeah.
it's just as many notes as you can have. I have a detail sheet that no one sees. That's my detail sheet. That's where I note, it happens at a lot of weddings. The groom's parents do not get along. Like, this person, keep away from this person. Or like, those little things that you have to remember that like other vendors don't need to know.
Yeah.
So, I have my detail sheet with every little thing, my event order of my timeline, my diagrams, my planning checklist. I mean, there's things that you can buy online, templates you can buy online, but until you just do it and get the experience under your belt, you're not, you're going to tailor it to how you operate. So I think that my documents and my planning method, I've changed and I'll forever keep changing.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is, I guess I have said it many times, it's like I don't overcomplicate things. So my clients, they're like, do we have to come back often? It's like, no. I've had a bunch of weddings where I've never met them in person until the day of. We don't have to have Zoom meetings. We don't have to have monthly phone calls if you don't want to. Send me a list and email when at 10 o'clock at night when you two have time together. I mean, my biggest pet peeve is when clients answer me and they're like, sorry, when it took like a day or two to answer. I'm like, why are you
Yeah, you
apologizing?
don't need to
Like, no,
apologize.
like wedding planning is done at your convenience. It is not your full time job.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be life consuming. So if you take 2 weeks to answer me, that's fine. If it's time sensitive, I'll let you know. Like, I'm not going to, let you forget it. But my biggest thing is I just kind of read the vibe of the client, right? Are you a list person? Are you, very structured? Do you want monthly meetings? Or like, can I tell that you're a little overwhelmed by this process? And so I'm letting you lead.
Yeah.
You ask me the questions or you do it when you're ready. And so I would say I don't have a very strict process because weddings are so deeply personal and they vary so drastically that I kind of change my approach based on the client's
Yeah.
needs.
No, I love that. I always tell my couples too when we're done with that meeting, or maybe they've booked, I'm like, I will be as hands on or as hands off as you want,
Exactly.
because the last thing you need is more emails when you want less, or
Hmm.
less emails when you want
Or
more.
having someone tell you what to do when you know what you want, you just want someone to execute it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's the biggest thing and advice to other vendors is like you have to play off your clients and no one's the same, no two weddings are the same.
Right.
So, you know, don't be the vendor that stresses out the bride. That's just
Don't be that guy.
we've all seen it, and it's all good intentions, but it's like again, don't overcomplicate it. Just let them have here's your three options of caterers,
Yep.
and pick from A, B, and C. And it just again, my job is to simplify things for people. I
Yeah.
want them to feel at ease. I want them to trust me and know I have their best interest at heart. And I just want them to enjoy the day and their family. I don't want the mom having to worry about setting up the cookie table. The tasks, as well intended as they are, it's added layers of stress for everyone. So
Yeah.
just hand me the cookie containers. I'll keep them labeled and just go spend the day
Yeah.
together.
I love that.
Um, it's not that hard. Doesn't have to be that complicated. And it's impossible not to get overwhelmed by it. No
Yeah.
one, I mean, most people, you just have to remember it's okay. You haven't planned a wedding before. That's why you pick professionals that can help you.
If we just focus on the couple and make it about the couple, vendor to vendor, we can all come together and just put on the best day
Hmm.
for them. And whether, it's a vendor in your category where you're kind of like 3,000-foot view and seeing everything, or you're a little measly videographer like me. No, just kidding. But we can all put our collective minds together
Hmm.
and just put on the best day for the couple. Megan, it's been so great having you on. It's so exciting to hear all of your experience with best events, the rental side of things, which you're still kind of actively doing, and all of the kind of newer things with B events. Where can people find and follow along with your work that you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm notoriously terrible at social media, which I actually would like to say is a good thing because I am spending more time on my clients than making, I'm not
There you
making
go.
reels or silly videos.
Yeah.
I'm like 2 years behind on blog posts. So just know when you go to follow me, don't. I am active. I'm still
Yeah.
okay. I did just have another kit, but no. Best Event Rental, it's Best Event Rental on Instagram, Facebook. B Events, it's B Events PA. There's some other ones out there apparently. So it's the B Events PA. Follow us on social media if you like to see pretty things and behind the scenes, and give us a call at Best Event. I'm always there. So,
Yeah. What's the best way for couples to like reach out?
yeah. Rental wise, call Best Event Rental 238-3037. Don't forget the 814, of course.
Dang.
B Events, it's through our website,
I feel like you need to have a little jingle.
Oh my, I
Should
did
totally
commercials
be a
as a kid.
jingle.
I mean, I remember being 5 years old and like I'm like having flashbacks right now. Like in the radio station, they made me say like over and over again, my
Yeah.
parents throw the best birthday parties, and I hated it. Um,
Your parents are probably rolling their eyes right
yeah,
now.
it was a short-lived, promotional stunt when I was cute, and now they're like, don't put her on camera. But
We still remember the phone number, so that's all
yep,
good.
yep, that's that, and the year it started. That's what matters.
Yeah.
But yeah, Best Event, give us a call, and B Events just through our website. It's the easiest way, just because I am actively in Best Event, constantly running for events. My life is chaos, so
Yeah.
email is the easiest way to get a hold of me because no matter where I am, I see it, and I'm
Yeah.
not that person that ignores the red bubble. So I don't care if it's 10 o'clock at night. I'm reading your email.
There you go.
I can't do it.
I love it. I love it. What stuff do you have coming up that you're excited about?
Oh man. We do a lot with Penn State football. They keep us busy. Thank you, Coach Franklin. So I'm constantly on the go with that stuff. It's football season and we are in full swing. Tailgates, recruiting, all that fun stuff. B Events wise, I'm helping this week with Coaches versus Cancer, which is a organization through Penn State that raises money for cancer patients. It's very near and dear to my heart. My mom and sister both have and had cancer, so that's something I have this week. That it's a passion project and something I look forward to doing every year.
I don't know when this is gonna go out, so we're
Oops.
where are we at? We're in September somewhere.
Yeah, you can cut that if you want.
Yeah, we're in September, so sometime in September that happens.
Yep. Every other September we have the reverse card
There you
drawing.
go.
So
Okay.
in 2027, buy your ticket. It goes for a good cause and you can win a car. But I have that this week and 2 back-to-back weddings, and then 2 more weddings, and we do it all over again. So
Love it. Well, this week we have back-to-back weddings too, so we're
Yeah.
just back-to-back in it.
yeah, it's when you book it, you're like, oh, I'll be fine, and then it happens, you're like, I care too much. Oh no.
Good grief! When am I gonna charge everything?
When am I gonna sleep? Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I have Sunday off.
Yeah.
And if I want to sleep in, I have like 5 hours to do
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
to do my laundry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the go is my favorite part,
Yeah.
though. I think if I stopped moving, I would die. So even a wedding day,
Well,
you won't
let's
see me
just
sit.
let's not stop moving because we don't want that to happen.
You won't see me sit at a wedding because as soon I'm done at that point.
Yeah.
I just stay standing. I eat
If
standing.
I can sit and have a Coke, I can usually get back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I don't eat in front of guests because I have like 10 seconds to eat and no one wants to
Yeah.
see it.
Well, Megan, it's been so great having you on and hearing all about B events and a little bit about Best Events Rentals too. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you've liked what you've heard from Megan and all of her experience, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing because there's going to be more just like it. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. That's all. And we'll catch you next time on The Preferred List.
Thank you.